The movie begins. In the rugged landscapes of Romsdalen, Norway, resides a man named Tobias. Accompanied by his daughter Nora, he embarks on a journey to witness the majestic site known as the Troll Peaks. This location holds a mythical history of trolls who once planned a grand wedding amidst these peaks. However, their revelry turned them into towering mountains, entwined with the passage of time. Nora, once captivated by fairy tales, has matured, leaving her faith in such tales behind. This transformation saddens Tobias, who imparts the wisdom that belief is a prerequisite to perception. 2 decades later, Nora finds herself as an archaeologist on the northwestern Norwegian shoreline. Amidst a group of fellow enthusiasts, she diligently excavates the earth in search of ancient artifacts. 6 months into their endeavor, their progress has been meager. Funds are dwindling, and the idea of discontinuation looms. Yet, Nora's resolve remains unshaken, propelling her to persist. A triumphant moment arrives when she unearths a dinosaur skull, igniting joy within her team and prompting a celebratory gathering. Concurrently, in the Dovre Mountains, a team toils to construct a new train track, tunneling through the rugged terrain. Opposition arises from those advocating for nature's preservation, but their concerns are largely disregarded. During excavation involving explosives, a resounding noise emanates from deep within the mountain, triggering a catastrophic collapse. Amid the chaos, not all escape in time. The military intervenes, dispatching a reconnaissance plane equipped with cameras operated by Sigrid. The captured images are shared with influential figures, eventually reaching the country's leader, Prime Minister Berit. Berit convenes with her advisors, examining the documented aftermath of the disruptive noise. Andreas, one of her aides, perceives the imagery as resembling footprints, a notion Berit dismisses. She directs Andreas to manage the news and solicit the expertise of scientists. Subsequently, Nora is summoned via helicopter to a military base, where Berit and high-ranking officers convene alongside scientists. Discussion revolves around the cause of the mountain's collapse. Nora's expertise in paleontology is met with skepticism, as the prevailing belief is that the noise originated from geological shifts. Evidentiary images of ground fissures and indentations are presented. Their resemblance to footprints is noted by Nora, although dismissed as fantastical. Sigrid uncovers a video account from a witness present during the collapse. As the footage is meticulously reviewed, an animal-like sound resonates, accompanied by a colossal shadow. This form, humanoid yet unconventional, defies easy explanation. In Lesja, an elderly married couple is puzzled by their dog's incessant barking. Suddenly, their house starts shaking and they rush to their basement as everything crumbles and the power goes out. When the shaking stops, they find their house destroyed but their dog unharmed. Meanwhile, the leaders at the base dismiss the idea of giant creature footprints. Nora suggests taking action instead of arguing. Impressed, Berit appoints Nora as the official scientific advisor and pairs her with Andreas to investigate. On their way, Andreas asks Nora how she became a paleontologist. She shares her love for nature and her childhood dream of finding underground monsters. Her father's inability to distinguish reality from fiction, after her mother's death, led to her separation from Tobias. Andreas admits his aspiration to be a writer and his excitement about supernatural causes. Nora interrupts as they arrive at the damaged landscape. The military secures the area and Captain Kristoffer shows them tracks that lead to the mountains. Nora questions the old couple who heard a sad howling from a figure blocking the sun. Nora examines the damage and identifies a strange smell she calls hypernatural. UV light reveals no biological traces, only earth and stones. She wonders if the creature can camouflage and ponders theories. Nora takes Kristoffer and Andreas to Tobias, who greets them with a firearm. After Nora reveals her identity, Tobias lets them in. They discuss his troll theories and Nora shows him the footage, hoping for clues. Tobias believes his theories are validated, blaming the disappearance of troll DNA on Norway's Christianization. He joins the investigation. At the track's end, Tobias notices discrepancies in the landscape and recalls adventures with Nora. She is cautious about their relationship. All of a sudden, a strong nature smell reaches their noses. The sky becomes dark as the mountain behind them opens its eye. It turns out the father and daughter were right. The creature is a troll. It could hide because of its camouflage ability, making it seem like part of the mountain. That's why the landscape seemed wrong. The troll stands up, showing its big body and roars at them. The group rushes back to the helicopter to escape. They still manage to film the troll. When the base gets the video, they can't deny the truth anymore. Kristoffer takes them to his military camp to inform the base. Nora tries to use unknown creature to not sound crazy, but Tobias interrupts. He says it's a troll that got upset by construction in the mountains. He thinks the construction disrespects nature. The leaders think he's crazy and kick him out. Nora's plea for more time is also ignored. They're worried about safety, so they plan a military operation. Later, Nora is very angry at her dad for ruining things. She wants to leave. But Tobias changes her mind. He explains this isn't a fairy tale. This troll won't just be scared away by weapons and sunlight. The troll is scared and alone. Weapons will make it angrier. Nature fights back too. Nora agrees and stays. They need to convince Kristoffer to take them along. At first, Kristoffer refuses. But Nora begs, and he agrees to take them in his helicopter if they follow his orders. Night falls over Heidel as the military operation arrives. While waiting for the troll, Tobias and Nora remember old fairy tales. They make up. The troll shows up, but when it senses them, it stops. Soldiers shoot at the troll despite Tobias' warnings. The troll fights back, just like Tobias said. They all run as the troll destroys things, even the cameras. They hide behind a tree with a hurt soldier. The troll grabs the soldier to eat because it smells blood. Nora, Andreas, and Kristoffer want to escape. But Tobias approaches the troll calmly. To everyone's surprise, the troll listens and responds peacefully. But not all the soldiers know. A truck shoots at the troll again. The troll accidentally hits Tobias as it counterattacks. Nora goes to her father, who is dying. Tobias mumbles about a palace, a king, and a home. He asks her to remember to believe. Back at the base, Nora looks at Tobias' research to find a solution and distract herself from the pain. Andreas and Kristoffer come to see her. They tell her that they can't see the troll now, but the army is getting ready to attack from the air. Nora thinks this attack will be like the first one, so they need a different plan. The old stories say trolls don't like sunlight, but this troll has been seen in daylight. Another clue is when Tobias talked about trolls being destroyed when Norway became Christian. This gives Nora an idea. They contact Berit and the others and explain that trolls used to throw rocks at churches when they heard bells ringing. So, they decide to use bells. The leaders don't agree at first, but Kristoffer reminds them that nothing else has worked. Berit reluctantly agrees to the plan. The troll appears again, closer to the Hunderfossen family park, causing panic. People start running, except for a little girl who wants to watch the troll. Kristoffer and Nora arrive in a helicopter with big bells. They surround the troll with the ringing bells, and it hurts the troll's ears, just as Nora thought. But the troll fights back, hitting the helicopters and making them crash. The troll saves the little girl from a falling helicopter, surprising everyone. Now, the whole world knows about the troll heading to the capital city. News from all over cover the event, and videos spread on social media. Back at the base, Berit is angry and ignores Nora. Nora suggests trying the bells again, but Berit kicks her out. Nora meets Kristoffer outside, who supports her. In a meeting, military leaders tell Berit about dangerous missiles not approved yet. Andreas disagrees, and he's kicked out. He quits and joins Nora, saying they need to evacuate the city. Berit announces a state of emergency on TV, asking citizens to help evacuate. Nora and Andreas are stuck in traffic. Nora looks at Tobias' research and finds Sinding and a gatekeeper. Andreas mentions Rikard Sinding, the Lord Chamberlain, and the royal palace. Nora recalls Tobias mentioning king, palace, home, and decides they should go to the royal palace. Sinding lets them in, knowing Tobias might show up. He explains the palace is built where the Troll King lived. Nora and Andreas learn that trolls were killed during Norway's Christianization, and the royal troll family was trapped in a cavern. 12 years in the past, Tobias made a startling discovery that prompted Sinding to send him to a facility designed for individuals dealing with mental health issues, all in an effort to safeguard a well-kept secret. While he experiences remorse over this decision, he remains steadfast in his belief that it was the correct course of action, much to Nora's considerable displeasure. Yet, the present moment isn't conducive to disagreements. Nora comprehends the validity of Tobias' choice. The imminent return of the Troll King to the palace necessitates their full attention and intervention. During their examination of the skeletal remains, Nora observes a curious phenomenon. Her specialized light adversely affects the bones. This observation validates the tales that spoke of the troll's vulnerability to sunlight. While they have previously encountered the troll during daylight hours, the creature has managed to evade direct sunlight due to the presence of clouds and mountainous terrain. Andreas conveys the inability to manipulate the sun, but Nora conceives a solution. She contacts Kristoffer to enlist his aid. His role involves setting up an innovative trap, while Nora and Andreas undertake the task of luring the troll toward it. Concurrently, the troll advances toward the city. The military's repeated assaults prove ineffective once more. In a critical move, Berit consents to deploy missiles. Sigrid discerns the preparations for the missile launch among the leadership and promptly alerts Andreas. A race against time ensues to find a means of delaying the launch. Andreas entreats Sigrid to attempt hacking into the army's system to forestall the launch. Kristoffer triggers the citywide alarm, rallying his comrades to join forces in executing the trap. Sinding contributes by arranging for one of the troll's skulls to be placed on a sizable truck. Nora and Andreas chart a course around the city, skillfully diverting the troll's attention away from the palace. Although Sigrid faces initial challenges, she eventually triumphs in accessing the system, thereby affording Nora and Andreas the precious time they require. As the troll draws near, they unveil the skull positioned on the truck's bed. Predictably, this action incites the troll's fury, prompting it to pursue them as anticipated. Nora makes contact with Kristoffer to apprise him of their progress, and he galvanizes his comrades to remain resolute. Following a chaotic race through Oslo streets, Nora and Andreas eventually reach the highway. Regrettably, they inadvertently lose the skull, causing the troll to pause and retrieve it, resulting in a mournful cry for its offspring. The troll's attention then shifts to its own reflection, leading to a shattering of glass as it attempts to interact with the image. Startled by the noise, the troll accidentally drops the skull, causing it to shatter. Filled with anger and agony, the troll bellows and resumes its pursuit. Nora reverts to the original strategy of evading the troll's destructive path. Meanwhile, at the base, Sigrid's hacking activities are detected, prompting the confiscation of her computer in order to reboot the system. Upon reaching the trap site, Nora and Andreas alight from the truck and guide the troll toward the center, where the soldiers activate UV lights that inflict searing harm upon the creature. A plane carrying missiles nears the scene, yet the pilot hesitates due to the presence of civilians. An intense dispute unfolds at the base, with Sigrid ultimately intervening to halt the operation. Berit and her associates bear witness to the troll's gradual demise on the screen, and Kristoffer's comrades celebrate this victory. Despite the jubilation, Nora finds it difficult to witness the troll's suffering and opts to cut off the power to spare it. The soldiers brace themselves for a final act, but Nora intervenes, approaching the troll with a gentleness reminiscent of her father and beseeching it to return to the mountains. The troll contemplates her words, but before it can react, the sun rises and subjects it to a blistering demise until it vanishes. Amid the ensuing celebrations, Andreas humorously suggests naming a new landmark in honor of the events, proposing the moniker, Tobias Boulder. Berit arrives on the scene to express her gratitude to Nora for her relentless efforts. Andreas declares his intention to resign and pursue a career as a writer. He walks away alongside Nora, pondering the possibility of other concealed creatures within Dovre. Deep within the mountains, beneath a mound of rocks, a movement stirs.